It's December 11th, 2018. There's more updates today about a series of whistleblowers that have recently come out from the Clinton Foundation, giving info on wrongdoing by the Clinton Foundation, more wrongdoing. Clinton Foundation CFO was among these whistleblowers. We looked at a couple of these articles recently, a lot of this just coming out in the last few days. This interesting quote from the CFO of the Clinton Foundation, thinking that he was meeting an old professional acquaintance. While having this meeting, he admitted to investigators that the charity had widespread problems with governance, accounting, and conflicts of interest. He said that Bill Clinton was essentially out of control or uncontrollable. And he also had a quote where he says, "I know where all the bodies are buried." This was the Clinton Foundation CFO. There have been other whistleblowers giving up documents recently. A recent report talking about 3 whistleblowers who had previously come forward, and they're now talking about a new set of documents, thousands of more documents, hundreds of documents showing the Clinton Foundation misused funds and made quid pro quo promises to donors about access to Hillary. Another whistleblower gave 6,000 pages to the FBI. That was a set of among these 3 individuals. And then there are other individuals as well that have recently come forward. One case that we've been following involves this individual, Dennis Kane, who was another informant from the Clinton Foundation. And it's interesting looking specifically at what he has info on. He tried to give this info through official whistleblower channels, and he thought his lawyers arguing that he had done everything that would have been expected of him as a whistleblower, and he was still raided by FBI agents. Now, new update is saying the DOJ is trying to keep the justification for this raid on this reported Clinton Foundation whistleblower a secret. So they're trying to hide the reason behind this raid, and people have been critical of the fact that the FBI has done this. It's also a legitimate question, I think, asking what Mueller's role in this was as well, particularly given that some of the info that Dennis Kane had could have related back to Mueller and his role in Uranium One. And there's another very recent article I pulled up when talking about this whistleblower previously. It's interesting this happens. This person that has information of wrongdoing from the Clinton Foundation, specifically on Uranium One, on the Uranium One deal, is the info that Dennis Kane had, which he officially handed over to the government and was still subject to a 6-hour FBI raid. Some of this info, wondering if this might be incriminating information not just on Clinton, but also on Robert Mueller. Robert Mueller, we know, is involved in the Uranium One scandal. And recently, again, just in the past few weeks, article from October saying that the FBI, more documents from the FBI are further detailing Clinton and Mueller's own Russiagate as part of this Uranium One scandal. But these documents are still classified, and they've really been fighting in the last few weeks to keep these additional documents classified, possibly to cover up for witch hunter Robert Mueller, while Clinton and crew relentlessly pushed the idea that the Trump campaign colluded. 2016, Special Counsel Robert Mueller searches with a magnifying glass for any sign of this collusion. Meanwhile, all parties involved are much quieter when it comes to the Uranium One scandal. Among this collection of documents relating to the controversial deal, the FBI has identified 37 pages that could shine a light on why then Secretary of State Hillary Clinton and the Obama administration approved the deal. So these are the exact types of documents that Dennis Kane said that he had, and I just want to look at the one quote from the first article on this from his lawyer, and just a quick description of what happened with this raid. So Kane had already handed over this info. He told the FBI agents when they went to his home that the potentially damaging against the Clinton Foundation classified information had already been properly transmitted to the Senate and House Intelligence Committees as permitted under the Act. That's what his lawyer is saying. The agents immediately directed a search, a full sweep of his home anyway, even though he had already said he'd already properly transmitted this info to the Senate and House Intelligence Committee. Still, the FBI subjected them to a 6-hour raid, 16 agents involved, 16 agents. He said that he was frightened and intimidated, the whistleblower. It's possible that this was part of the reason behind the raid, to try to intimidate this whistleblower from speaking further. Kane promptly handed over the documents. His lawyer said, yet even after surrendering the info to the FBI, the agents continued to rummage through the home for 6 hours. After asking and getting my approval to do so, DOJ IG Michael Horowitz had a member of his staff physically take Mr. Kane's classified document disclosure to the House and Senate Intelligence Committees. For the Bureau to show up at Mr. Kane's home, suggesting that those same documents are stolen federal property, and then proceed to seize copies of the same documents after being told at the House door that he is a legally protected whistleblower. He told them, the agents who gave them to Congress, this is an outrageous disregard of the law, is what Kane's lawyer is arguing. So Kane has said that he was frightened and intimidated by the experience. I'm not sure if that's what the FBI was trying to do, trying to cover up some of the info on Clinton and Mueller and Uranium One. Possibly you have to wonder if Mueller had any hand in ordering that raid as well. That would definitely be worrying if a whistleblower with information on Robert Mueller, meanwhile, Robert Mueller has the FBI do this raid on Dennis Kane. If that's what happened, is definitely worrying. Also possible that they are trying to find and further evidence, the FBI, as part of this raid, and destroy evidence from the whistleblower against the Clinton Foundation. They could have been trying to do that. Some have also suggested that they could have been planting some kind of evidence of a crime, trying to frame the whistleblower to use against him if, again, he goes forward with this, possibly planting something on his computer or in his home, potentially. You have to wonder if the FBI could be doing something like that. Why are they so set on covering up the reason behind this raid? This is what they're saying. This is the justification that they're giving. This is the most recent update from today, saying Department of Justice is requesting that the justification of an FBI raid on a reportedly recognized whistleblower's home remains secret, according to a letter from U.S. Attorney Robert Hur. The letter was sent to the U.S. District Court for District of Maryland on December 7th. This was in response to Daily Caller News Foundation's November 30th request to unseal court documents that would show the FBI's rationale for the raid. The documents could potentially reveal whether the Bureau and the magistrate who signed the court order allowing the raid, that was Stephanie Gallagher, did they know that the subject was, according to his lawyer, a recognized whistleblower? Those documents might reveal that. They are trying to cover that up. That might imply that they did know that he was a recognized whistleblower, but they don't want to admit that as maybe part of the reason they're not releasing these documents. 16 FBI agents raided Dennis Kane's Union Bridge, Maryland home on November 19th. That's the day that the raid took place. Even though Kane had told them that he was a recognized whistleblower and he'd already handed classified documents over to the agents. Documents Kane possessed reportedly showed that federal officials failed to investigate potential criminal activity regarding former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, the Clinton Foundation, and the Russian company that purchased Uranium One. Kane gave the documents to the Justice Department Inspector General Michael Horowitz, who had a senior official from his office hand deliver them to the House and Senate Intelligence Committees, according to Kane's lawyer. Kane, former employee of an FBI contractor, has not been arrested in connection with the raid. Whistleblower advocates and defense attorneys have condemned the raid, and Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Chuck Grassley has also demanded that the FBI Director Christopher Wray justify the raid and divulge whether the Bureau knew about Kane's reported disclosure. Iowa Republican gave Wray until December 12th to respond. So today's the 11th. We should have some kind of response from Director Christopher Wray. Hur did not address Kane's reported status as a protected whistleblower in his letter to the court, and instead appeared to employ boilerplate objections to keep the documents out of the public. He also did not invoke national security concerns or claim that Kane possessed classified information. Instead, they've said releasing the raid's justification would, quote, seriously jeopardize the integrity of the ongoing investigation. That's what Hur wrote in an eight-page letter. Another quote from the letter says, making this type of information public while this investigation is ongoing could harm the government's ability to find additional relevant evidence. He's also stated that his office opposed the court order's public release to, quote, guard against possible tampering of witnesses and destruction of evidence, and to maintain the ability of the grand jury to investigate this matter. So they're not giving up that information. Meanwhile, basically everything they pointed out in that quote, some people are thinking that that was the actual reason for the raid, that it was the opposite of what they're saying, that it was to tamper with a witness, it was to destroy evidence, and just to muddle with the investigation in general without any proper explanation or real justification for the raid. I don't think that those theories have been debunked. I don't think you can throw away those theories just yet at this time. Hur wrote that, quote, unsealing would expose details of the government's investigation and impact the government's ability to secure charges in this matter. His letter also indicated that there were other targets or subjects of the investigation. The U.S. attorney claimed that redacting the search warrant application is not it's not practicable. Redacting it, they will not do because the warrant is interwoven with sensitive investigative information. So they're saying they can't redact it either, or they can't release a redacted version. There should be some kind of comment from Christopher Wray on the 12th. They're anticipating on this specific raid. Again, it's interesting that all this is going on at the same time. So that's just one individual, Dennis Kane, but there are these three other whistleblowers. One of them has over 6,000 documents. And then you have those comments from Clinton Foundation CFO making some very interesting comments when he thought that he was just talking to an old acquaintance. So I guess he didn't think that some of those other comments about knowing where all of the bodies are buried. Pulled that article up at the very beginning of this video. Clinton Foundation CFO, this quote, a couple other quotes against the Clinton Foundation. He thought that he was meeting an old professional acquaintance. So that's also interesting as well. Got quite a few different whistleblowers against the Clinton Foundation speaking out. There are documents that have been handed over. What is the DOJ's role in all this exactly? What is the FBI trying to do? Let me know what you think. I will continue to follow this, and I'll follow up here with any additional info as it comes out. I also have links to my Patreon account. Just a reminder, patreon.com/realityreader in the video description. Thanks everybody that has helped the channel through there. A couple dollars makes a huge difference. Helps me keep talking about these issues here. Patreon.com/realityreader. I also have a PayPal link and a link to the original article, the most recent one that we looked at from this week. Let me know what you think. I'll follow up soon. Thank you.